And hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. 2 weeks ago, on Sunday the 6th of April 2025, legendary reggae singer Koffee was laid to rest at his hometown of Rocky Point in Maypen in the district of Clarendon. Putting it mildly, he was among the most loved figures in Jamaican music, and his funeral was attended by thousands of people who came from far and wide to pay their last respects to the icon. In addition to the fans, the ceremony was heavily attended by reggae royalty in the persons of Shabba Ranks, Josie Wales, Charlie Chaplin, Wayne Wonder, and lots of others. But one person whose absence was heavily noticed was young dancehall superstar Koffee, an artist whose dramatic rise to fame was heavily assisted by Koffee when she was trying to find her feet in the industry as a young teenager in 2018. I watched the funeral ceremony on live stream and was thrilled to see the presence of the retinue of stars. But I looked out specifically for Koffee, and though I didn't see her, I just assumed that she was there somewhere out of the camera's view. But all my doubts were cleared when I began to see reactions on social media from fans who were totally furious that Koffee has skipped the event. The backlash was swift, thoroughly brutal, and if you ask me, for good reason too. For one thing, Koffee was an elder statesman of reggae and dancehall and was part of the golden generation of Yellowman and Barrington Levy, the same set that really made dancehall a global phenomenon and one that paved the way for younger artists like Koffee. And the second, and definitely most important reason, is that aside from Koffee herself, no other person is as responsible for her emergence as Koffee. For a start, soon after she was discovered, when her musical tribute to Usain Bolt on Instagram went viral, her producer, Washi Fire, took her to Florida and introduced her to Koffee. And after singing for him, she would impress him heavily with her talent, and he took it upon himself to become her biggest champion and praise singer. He would tell anyone that cared to listen that she was the next big thing in Jamaican music. In fact, he was so convinced that he would invite her to perform alongside him at the very prestigious Rebel Salute Music concert that was taking place in 2018. In case it's not too clear to you of how big a deal this was, Koffee brought her to perform with him on day one of that legendary music concert, an evening when legends like Third World, Marshall Griffiths, Anthony B, Freddie McGregor, and Tony Rebel also graced the stage. It was simply an incredible platform, and that gesture by Koffee would thrust her into the consciousness of the global audience that was watching. And he also gave her first massive visibility on an international platform when he brought her on stage with him during a set at the Rotterdam Sunsplash in Spain in the same year. And he also gave her priceless coaching and tips, which he drew from his experience as a 4-decade veteran, and championed her cause non-stop on social media, predicting that she was the next dancehall megastar despite massive skepticism from his peers, who all doubted that the then inexperienced 19-year-old newcomer could break out like he was saying. And his support for her was so strong that people began to believe that she was his daughter. A few months later, Koffee was vindicated when Koffee's single Toast became a breakout global hit. Her debut EP Rapture also became a global smash and bagged a Grammy for Best Reggae Album a year later, making her the youngest and the first woman to achieve this. And Koffee back then would credit Koffee for assisting her with crucial knowledge about the music business, which had helped her become a star. But after her incredible start, her success as a recording artist seemed to fade, and I even made a video about it a few weeks ago in which I cited her moving away from her traditional roots as the major reason why. And it was in light of Koffee's great success as a protege of Koffee that truly enraged the fans and sparked the backlash that she's been receiving for the past 2 weeks for not attending his funeral. But mind you, she did post a tribute on her Instagram the day after he passed away, but the fans weren't having it. As part of damage control, her team will clarify on Jamaican radio station IRI FM that they weren't informed about the funeral details by the organizing committee and that they had no connection with Koffee's family. And they went further to say that they only found out about the event after it was announced on the 4th of April, which was 2 days before the burial itself. And my first thought was, oh, so they did know about it beforehand. To begin with, saying that Koffee or her team weren't notified about the burial is total nonsense. Nothing, and I repeat, absolutely nothing, stopped Koffee from getting somebody in her team to get the number of Kokotee's widow or kids and placing a call to them directly. As a protege of the great man, it was the least she could have done to pay her last respects. And what really got on my nerves the most was her team acknowledging that they heard about the burial 2 days before. But to me, it seemed they decided not to go because they weren't notified officially. That is rubbish, and I'm talking legendary nonsense. If Koffee lived in the US or elsewhere abroad, maybe there could have been an alibi. But as far as I know, she still lives in Jamaica and had no excuse to skip the burial. As a big fan of Koffee, I'm torn between wondering if she was misled by her management team, as is often the case, or if truly, as fans are saying, she's let superstardom get into her head. Either way, it was wrong of her not to attend the burial, and I hope she does something or performs some gesture to Kokotee's family. Maybe she can do a tribute song and donate all the proceeds to a charitable cause in Kokotee's hometown. Definitely a good place to start, but that's just me thinking aloud. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, God bless.